What it is, what it is, what it is, what it is. Vader Games in the building. I got to make sure my levels are nice and clean. It's another episode. It's another week. Oh man, a lot to talk about, and it's gonna be a short and sweet show, timing wise. You know what it is. Okay, levels are good there. I'm gonna let the people get into the mix a little bit. It's a special show because I know there was a lot that happened this past week, and trying to condense it into the mix is going to be difficult to do. But first things first, my peoples come first. Subscribe if you're new, like, comment if you've been here before, or even if you're here for the first time. Let's interact. My lighting is a little off, but I'm gonna deal with it today. You see what it is right here. You see the topics. A lot to go over. I know that first topic. You're like, Vader, get over it. I can't. I need to talk about it, and then I'll move on. But we're gonna address that. But you know where I'm from. Let me show you a little bit of that before we get into the show properly. Here we go. All right. Ah, man. Okay. Let me be honest with you. I know time has passed. I know another match has been played since. But I'm still irked. I'm still upset. I'm still annoyed. We can't forget. We can never forget about what happened at Old Trafford and that ridiculous non-VAR decision. Ridiculous. This interpretation of the rule, or there's this gray area, absolute garbage, nonsense. The linesman saw it in actual real time, made the proper call. This referee he felt the weight, he felt the pressure of being in Old Trafford. He felt that. And that's why he didn't go back on that decision, because he would have had to get out of there with bodyguards out of Old Trafford for that decision. I see my people starting to get into the mix backstage. I see you, Adam. I see you, Martin. I'm gonna let things settle for a little bit. And I know this has been talked extremely. It's been talked for a while. I still continue to tweet about this. That was a game changer. There's no if, ands, or buts around it. If whether you've played football or not, if you've played a sport, if you've competed, there's momentum. It's a real thing. There's shifts there's the tide shifting, there's energy, there's passion, there's disappointment, there's emotion in sport. And I don't care who you are, for what we were doing in Old Trafford, battling them, being up 1-0, to then have that decision go against you in Old Trafford had to have been draining. Because you heard the roar of the crowd in Old Trafford. You heard it. You heard the United fans finally having chest and voice when that goal went in. Momentum is a real thing, and it can affect positively or negatively. And it did affect us, but I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna move on from it, but I'm not gonna forget it. I'm not gonna forget it, because hostile environments, fighting in those situations can't be forgotten. Every player on that pitch for City needs to remember that. Needs to remember those emotions and that level of fight, because that's what's going to be required moving forward for this season. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be able to have this conversation with regards to this show moving forward with the people that I'm about to introduce. All right, man. I'm going to do a disservice to them today, because they deserve a proper intro breaking down not only what they mean to this channel, but what they mean to the content that's being made out there, because they're all fantastic panelists and they all have amazing voices. But I'm going to introduce them. The names, you know them. And if you don't, go back to my previous show. We actually had to cut it short, but go back to my previous show, talked about them at great length, proper intro. But today we're going to get into it. We're properly going to get into the mix right here. And let me do this. First, I'm just gonna bring them in. I'm gonna bring them in. You know the man, Mancuniue Martin. He's in the mix. You know the man, Adam runs his spaces. He does his thing. Support my guy. And you know the man that always brings the smoke. First name Don, last name Smoke. He's in the mix, and we're gonna have a great combo. I'm hoping that more can join later on in the show. But this is what we're gonna tackle first because I need to get this from you guys. It's fresh. Just happened last night. This match against Spurs, we've done previews, we've done post matches, but I want to hear it from you first and foremost. And I'm going to throw this to you, Adam. And I'm going to put you on the spot because I was in the preview
Yes.
spaces that you ran, and I was in the halftime space for you as well. Us being down 2-0 to Spurs halftime. We'll talk about full time later, but halftime, looking back on it, your feelings, my guy, your feelings, and how you tell me how you dealt with the end of that first half.
You know what it was, right? It pissed me off because I said to myself, "Oh, bloody hell! I know where this is gonna end." Because we had the same, in, like vein of form, yeah, against United. We had the
Hmm.
same vein of form, yeah, against Brentford, where the issue was we were playing good, but in the final third we were not scoring the goals and we were not creating chances. Yeah, and that's what annoyed me. Is like, oh fuck, I just like sorry for my sorry for my
No, it's
French.
good. You're good. You're good.
Like it just says like there was some. I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I admit there was some doubt creeping in, saying, "Oh, you know what? This is- this
Ah,
game is probably
it's all right.
this game is probably gonna end up like a Brentford, yeah, or the United game where we end up losing because it was
Yeah.
annoying."
Well, you heard Martin. Martin laughed because when you said some doubt, I think you're being kind. There wasn't some doubt. There was a lot of doubt at that second half because it did feel like doomsday. Like, what the heck's going on here? This is 3 games on the bounce. We're about to drop. It's Spurs, a bogey team. We should be at our level to be able to deal with it. It was a disappointing way to go into that half, and I know that. And there was a great stream just previously, maybe less than 45 minutes ago. True City fan. He had a great panel on there conversation that covered a lot. I think he almost had a 2 hour stream. So I don't want to overlap too much of what was discussed there. Go back and watch it if you've missed it, City fans. But I want to ask this from a let's find the positive, or let's get into the mind of a manager to get the result from the team. And I'm gonna throw this to Don Smoke. A coaching scenario happens often on the training pitch. The manager will say, we're 1-0 down 80th minute, or in this case we're 2-0 down against a low block counter team, Conte running Spurs. Could you have asked for a better scenario for a manager to see what your players are made of?
That's actually an interesting one, right? Because I think normally when we're in this situation, right, I'm gonna identify two players, right, who I feel could, who the only I feel like in our squad currently, there's only two players who could have changed the state of the game, and they were both on the pitch. For me, that was Alvarez and Grealish, right?
Mm,
Say what you want about Grealish, but I feel as if he's the best ball carrier in the team in the attacking third. See him run with the ball, right? He protects it and he can drive. He's got that drive with the ball, right? And
mhm.
intensity wise, it's Alvarez. So now the fact that those two are on the pitch, for me, that was my only comfort. Apart from being, it's like, okay, you're losing 2-0, you look at your bench, you have KDB. Yes, KDB can give you that final ball, but he doesn't have the intensity of an Alvarez. Next,
Right.
you have Foden, you have Bernardo. I don't think those are the guys you want to chase the game with, right? They got that moments of brilliance, but I don't think so. I feel as if it was more of a mirror. I won't say it was a miracle because prior to the game, I'll tell you why. Prior to the
Yeah.
Liverpool game, we were playing with this intensity. Hence, we were scoring all the goals that we were scoring. Right. So
Hmm.
second half was just a testament to what we've been talking about the whole season. That if we up our intensity, we can blow away any team. And Spurs couldn't.
Oh, sorry. So I think someone had their speakers on, but I think we're good. Don, Don, you got muted for some reason.
Right. Yeah. Spurs couldn't live with us, and I think the fans got the second half they deserve, based on what the team has put us through. I think we finally got the half that we deserved,
Yeah.
and I think it played out perfect to do it against Spurs because that's what they done to us at the Etihad last season, whereby it was a smash and grab. So
I'm
football won.
I'm I'm right there with you because I was trying to, and again, there's a level of this is unfortunate. Don't like the situation. We're down, but then there's also let me see what Pep does, or let me see how these players react. And then when you think about us wanting to see how we deal with inverted wingers, or what Pep does with regards to a team that's going to set up low block, or set up with five defenders, or set up with, you know, two blocks of five. Like, we want to see all of that. And Conte, as oddly as it may seem, and you kind of mentioned it as a miracle, for that to be the scenario and to see these players fight, I think from a fan standpoint, even from a player standpoint, there should be confidence there. There should be confidence to now see the pattern of play, how the ball gets moved, how players not only take chances with the shots that they take, but take chances with some of these cutting passes and opportunities that are made on that pitch. I mean, I've already watched that match a second time, but I'm hoping the players themselves go back to watch it to know that that's in them. That's in them from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, and I love that. Let me go to this comment real quick. Sean goes, at halftime, I was really hoping for a draw at least. And you know what, Sean? I think many were just, let's salvage something here, right? Because not only are we judging the performance, but we're judging the league and the table, and obviously the start that Arsenal has and where they are. That's understandable. But the players, they fought for that, man. They fought for that. And the point, the the point of being down 2-0, right? And then going four unanswered, four goals, and the two goals at the start of the second half were quick, right? So I love how we responded. We got my man, first time panelist on the show today. He was on True City Fan, and we've been interacting through Twitter often. But we got my man Skywalker. Skywalker, I want to ask you, man, did did City remind, and when I say City, I mean the players. Did the players remind us that they fight till the very end? Like, was that something forgotten by many of us, even as dramatic as last season ended? Were the fans reminded last night?
Definitely. I don't think it was just the fans, but the entire league. For rival fan bases, rival teams, everybody was reminded what we can do. It's funny because at the start of the season, I don't know if anybody remembers, we had a few games where we went one behind or two behind before halftime, and we ended up coming back, and we all
Hmm.
felt like we had um, unlocked another level to ourselves, the ability to come back and actually win the games. That hasn't always been the case for us. In the past, we've seen it. I think it all changed that like around the Atletico game, as well as the final game of the Premier League. So I think it reminded us that we had the capacity to come back, even though we couldn't come back against United, or against Southampton. But right now, hopefully that hopefully since Pep has something figured out, a system that looks like will go forward, we might be able to carry this form on. So I think rival fans and rival teams should be worried with what we have to offer now.
I've been I've been saying this, and I'm gonna throw this to you, Adam. I've been saying this, man. On a previous show, I told Arsenal fans, go and talk to Liverpool fans. Go and talk to them and know what winning this league is about. Like knowing what kind of chess, what kind of endurance you need to have. I've been telling them, and I don't think they believe it. Adam, as we go into this, my friend, has Arsenal fans, from what you've heard, because you run these spaces, you're in the mix. Are they a little too calm with regards to winning this? What are you hearing in the spaces?
Yes, because I've been in some spaces where Arsenal fans are saying, "Oh, this, that, X, Y, Z," but I've realized, yeah, since Pep has done that interview where I played it on the space, me, Martin, and Sean, we were all listening to it. Yeah. Now this, after I listened to that, yeah, I fear for Arsenal because I fear for Arsenal after having listened to what Pep said, yeah, and somewhat not say publicly say bash like not publicly bashing the players, but somewhat saying like, giving them a kick up the arse and like saying to them, listen here, I know you guys are your standard is a lot higher than this, and I need you to bring out that standard that you guys have had done in the previous season.
Yeah. You know what, Don Smoke? I think I think Pep he's been trying things along the way, as any great manager is, right? I'm gonna apply this stimulus and see how the players react. I'm gonna test them with this and see how players react. I think this post game press conference that he had is just the next attempt at him trying to get that reaction out of these players because three-peat's not easy. Three-peat is not easy, and I think he's been doing it the entire season, but he's been sprinkling in a few things here and there, and this is just the latest iteration of trying to get the reaction out of these players, knowing that this three-peat is going to be such a battle. What do you have to say to that? I think Don Smoke might not be available right now, or his mic might be muted. But let me throw this to you, Carl, if you're able to speak. I think Pep's attempt, and you're a
Yeah,
coach.
yeah.
You know how you have to constantly. You as a coach can never be satisfied. You're always trying to get the best out of your players, and
Mm,
I think this latest press conference is Pep doing exactly that, trying to get the best out of his players.
mhm.
Um, and the funny enough, I believe that the message wasn't just for the players, but it was actually for City as a whole. Does that make sense? Am I off?
But you're absolutely correct. I think you're absolutely 100% spot on. We mentioned earlier on in the stream that if they'd lost this game, Pep won't come out with that line. He won't, because it's not the right time, it's not the right position, it's not the right place, and it may do more damage than help. I think him coming out after you've come back from 2 goals down. Let's be clear. They scored 4 unanswered goals in that second half. It could have been 6 because of the penalty, and they won the game. This is when he comes out with not good enough, not good enough, right? It's kind of reverse psychology, right? It's I'm going to hit you when you're at your highest because I want you to get higher, but I'm not going to hit you when you're low because I don't want you to get lower. I'm going to do the
Great
opposite.
point. Yeah, that's a great point.
I
I
remember growing up when they used to say, Dad, I came second in class. I got 98%. Father would say, what happened to the guy that got 100%? That's not good enough now. But I just got 98%. Like, no, he came second. Somebody came first. What happened to him? You're like, what the
mm.
hell is this guy talking about?
I know exactly what you mean, and I've hinted at this for a while on this channel, guys, and I thank each and every one of you to be able to join in. I'm I'm humbly surprised that I get the likes that I get and I get the views that I get. For it to grow, I'm ecstatic. But to the point of understanding the motivation to try and get more out of your players, to try to get more even out of your staff, right? Pep's obviously looking at his assistant managers, assistant coaches as well, and he's trying to make sure that they're always at that level as well. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. many moons ago. I'm here in Canada before my passion, before my love to be able to do this occasionally. Um, I had a desire and I had a pursuit within athletics. I was luckily enough to do my thing. I earned a scholarship. I moved on to do other things, and I'm gonna share more as the episodes continue. But that point that Carl's talking about even the fact that it seems to go against things, but you need to always push your athlete, good or bad, to achieve more. Even when the good's happening, you need to find what you can trigger them to get more out of them. And I remember a quote from Pep early with KDB. He actually came to KDB as good as KDB was, as fantastic as his stats were. Pep went to him and said, "You can be the greatest midfielder. You can be the greatest midfielder." Imagine someone looking at you and seeing the quality in you and still pushing you to do more. I believe he has that similar approach with many of the teammates that many of the players that he has on that squad. And he's trying to get the best out of everyone. And I know it's difficult to do when you've won 4 out of 5 and you're attempting for this three-peat. And this is when I want to go back and I want to put this on screen real quick. Winners need greater motivation. Winners need you need to keep layering on more. You need to layer more and more and more on because you can get satisfied. And this is where I think going back to this Arsenal and the start that they have is that greater motivation that Pep can then put onto them. And he's done that in this press conference. Don Smoke, I think you're back.
Yeah.
The way Pep maneuvered this press conference and not only brought Arsenal to light with regards to what they're doing, but also to challenge the players. Is he playing 4D chess? What's happening with our man Pep?
You know what? I don't even think he sees it as chess, right? You know, the reason why Pep is the perfect guy for this situation is you must understand that this is the guy who's behind one of the greatest midfield trio that's in our lifetime. I'm talking about Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta. And this is the guy who coached, if not the greatest forward of all time in Messi. He brought him up. So it's that thing of whereby it doesn't matter what KDB can show Pep. Pep is like, dude, there's levels. It's like you may be doing well, but there's levels beyond your galaxy. And you have the potential. And it's not even, when he's doing that, he's not even playing a game at you. So
good point.
You see what I'm talking about? Is that thing whereby this guy has seen a team dominate the ball, whereby the ball goes out when they want to go out, and the only time you get the ball is when you have to have a goal kick or when or from the halfway line after you concede a goal. So is that thing of whereby he's telling you that at the end of the day, hence I admire his precision. It's like these guys have 2 decades of not winning the title. So these guys are hungry.
Yeah.
These it's like these 4 titles you've won, which make you think that no, the league will be given to you by default. There's no such a thing. At the end of the day, football is football, right? It has to be played on the ground. You don't win on your team sheet. That no, we have a better team. No, it's like you have to go and you have to play it. Hence, you are saying Zini and Gabriel, they're gonna forget every game. They're gonna fight for every action to make sure Arsenal win because they bring in that mentality over there. And you also have Arteta. So Pep is trying to give these guys the long game. And yes, you're 8 points behind, but there's 19 games to go. Hence, that's why at the end of the day, experience is priceless. Pep has seen this before.
Yeah.
Pep has seen this before. He's like, guys, you're gonna have to earn this title. You need to earn your championship.
100%. Can I just add on to that as well?
Absolutely.
So, if you guys remember in Pep's press conference, he said something that really stuck to me. So he said, yes, these guys have won 4 of the last 5 Premier Leagues, right? They've done back-to-back twice, but they need to remember that winning is what we do. You know, this is what they signed up for, right? I don't remember what he said specifically, right? Oh, he said this was the deal. The deal was that we do this every season. Whether it's a 2P, 3P, or even if we do it 4 times in a row, that is the deal. And you have to give yourself, you have to give 100% every season. So there's no time to be lackluster. There's no time to be lazy or to be comfortable, which we've seen throughout the squad. The squad has been too comfortable, and it made me think, right? So he mentioned the whole thing of this is a message to the fans, to the players, and the entire organization. That made me think that the shot, like the whole organization part, was a shot at the higher ups in terms of maybe I might be overthinking it, but like he might
No,
have
no,
been
go ahead.
hinting at might have been hinting at like transfers and stuff. Like we all know the history of Man City is that we do not do transfers in January, right?
Mhm, mhm.
And we can also agree on the fact that even though most of us wanted Raheem Sterling and Jesus to leave, right? The plan was always to replace them at the end of the day. We had to replace what they contributed to the team, and we weren't able to do that. Might have been, there might have not been a target that we wanted in the market or not. But right now, the rivals are strengthening. We are stronger
Yeah,
than the rivals in terms of our depth, right? But they are strengthening. And in order to maintain what we are doing or what they are doing, we might also have to spend. I don't know. I might be overthinking it, but he might be having a little something with the high up saying maybe we should buy in this window. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I'm gonna throw that to Carl. I'm not too sure if there is a conversation where we need to strengthen in this January window because healthy, healthy. I think we've got the squad to do what we need to do. Um,
Mm,
but I'm gonna throw that to you, Carl.
mm,
Do you think those conversations are happening where maybe there's the indirect where Pep's looking to get
mm.
more in this January window?
Who knows? I mean, it could be. I mean, I think that my good friend here, Skywalker, right? Skywalker, right? I think
Hmm.
he has. I think he has a good point. Maybe he's looking at the whole organization and saying, "Guys, get your finger out of your behind. If we need a left back, you know, get it." Maybe
Yeah.
that's what he's saying. Perhaps. And Patrick made this point earlier on. Um, but if you ask me, I just think it's just wants the players the desire. It's just the players' desire. It's the fans at home stepping up their support for the club, even when they're down. It's the organization generally. It's all that, right? And a bag of chips. It's
So
getting to
yeah,
the point where to win again, third time, you need to do extraordinary things. You can't do what you did last year. We need to
100%.
do extraordinary things to win the third one and the UCL this year and the FA Cup.
Yeah. So this, and I don't want to derail it too much, but I believe the convo happened possibly last week, and it was if Pep is seeing players, regardless of human nature or not, if Pep is seeing players that aren't taking his instructions, that aren't really valuing everything that he's asking them to do and putting in the effort, I'm holding my hands up. Those players leave the club. As you could be the greatest name that's been performing the last 2 seasons. If you're not listening to the manager, and we've seen great managers do this in the past, if you're not taking the input from this manager, you're out the door. As great as your talent is, because he knows what's expected. Every player plays a role. So if you're on that pitch and you're not doing to what he's asking you to do, again, you've got to sit and you've probably got to move on. And I think that's to your point, Carl, the passion and desire that needs to come forward, and that needs to be expected of every player. So I don't know if that's the case, but if I wouldn't be surprised if a big name was kind of
I
told to
mean,
say bye bye.
let's kind of pull that thread a little bit more. And I always refer to my own experience. I ain't no Guardiola. I ain't no Guardiola. I don't profess to be. I will never be. I will never be.
But as long as if you're pursuing to
But
get
the
better, that's all that
principle,
matters.
I leverage the principle. So I'm thinking
Hmm.
myself right now, having a championship team that I'm blessed with, right? I'm saying to myself, what do I need to do to shake up this team for the next season? I'm thinking of adding a player. So I'm actively right now going out to recruit an additional player to bring in to shake up the squad, to get them to play to the next level. Why? Because I want that fire to continue, the pressure to continue for places, the drive for places. Now, I'm fortunate because in the league that we play, U14s, you can substitute anytime, you can sub anytime, right?
Yeah.
And I've done many times in the first 5 minutes of the game, it ain't working. I'm yanking that player off, putting them on the bench, saying not good enough, put somebody else in. And when their head gets straight, put them back in again.
Right.
And it works.
Yeah.
But you can't do that in the Premier League, obviously. But I think if a player comes in, and maybe it's Maxi Perron, who's coming in February.
Good point.
Maybe he's the catalyst that we need to take us to the next level in the midfield.
Yes.
Yes, Martin.
Hello. I've been here for 25 minutes. I've just done a Vader and been really patient. I've been cast for the goals for 25 minutes. No, stop it, Adam. Good now. Listen, you go back to what Cheeky said and what Soriano said. We only spend in January if you're in shit street, basically. If you're really struggling. January for me is a panic market. You don't get value for money. Players who City will generally want will not be available because generally City are going to go after top players, or if we're talking Champions League players, they're not going to be released while players are still in there unless you pay silly kind of money. City do all their business generally in the summertime, and that's generally what will happen. There will be a clear out. There will be 3 or 4 that will go, but the players that will come in will be for the summer. If you look at everyone City do in January, it is like a Perron or someone who comes in who's a young lad, not a lot of money, bit of an unknown. That's how City roll. That's how we've always generally rolled. We don't jump in the market in January, never have done. And the thing is, they won't see it as a panic. They're still second. Still second. But we're not down in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, even 10th.
Yeah, there's no panic with a healthy squad. I'll be quick to say that. There's no panic with a healthy squad because I think we have the coverage at right back. I went back and I watched that match against United. Cancelo wasn't as poor as I initially thought. He's getting back there, and if he does, we've got our left back coverage as well. But what I find interesting with this season in particular, and the fact that Pep mentioned how long Arsenal have not won, he's drawing on that greater motivation that's required for City to be able to pursue this three-peat in my eyes, because they're hungry, they're starving. So have you guys looked at the table and have, pardon how I describe this, but do you have concerns with any other club other than Arsenal this season? Adam, is there anyone on the radar that's if you know a radar is there anyone on the blip? Is there anyone that's coming up that you're like?
Absolutely no. I think the only team that I'm looking forward to play and beat is Arsenal, because I know United are going to do what United are, and that's going to be shit, and then somehow scrape a top 4. So I'm not worried about United. So, but I can't wait for us to play Arsenal, and I know we're going to beat Arsenal most likely both games. But United, I'm not asked about them because they'll just do the United that they do and just be absolutely shit and somehow scrape a top 4.
I think we need to be careful, though. I think. Sorry,
no, you're good.
I think we need to be very careful because at the start of the season, I remember I was on one of my South African city spaces, right? Vida, you've been in some of those spaces. You know how they are. And
I love them.
I think it was. I think we were in like game week 5 or 6, right? And everybody was ridiculing Arsenal. I was like, guys, I've been watching how these guys play. My brother's an Arsenal fan, so I tend to watch majority of their games, right? And I just come off watching their All or Nothing, and I'm like, these guys, they have something, right? And they're top of the log at this point with like one defeat. I think we should actually take Arsenal seriously. This is game week 6 or 7. And they laughed at me. They laughed. They laughed. They're like, we know Arsenal. Arsenal will flop. They will drop the ball at some point, like they did top 4 last season, right? And I feel that we might be underestimating United as well. With what Adam just said right now, he's saying Man United will just scrape top 4 and everything. Man United have shown us every reason to be concerned that they can make a title challenge or a top 2 challenge. So I feel like we should be careful with what we say about other clubs. I get this banter here and there, but we need to give credit where it's due and recognize. Pep Guardiola said himself that the United that he played now was not like the United he's played before, right? He's like, they've gotten better. You cannot be upset at how we performed, well, not completely, because they played good. They are a good team under a good manager. So they have everything they need to become second or first, right? It all depends on the luck of the game and what you do in critical moments of the season. But we shouldn't rule Man United out. And even Newcastle, the funny thing is Arsenal, Newcastle, and Man United right now are 3 teams that are overachieving. All 3 of them are overachieving. And when it comes to Manchester City is a team like Liverpool and Chelsea that are underachieving. Everything is backwards in terms of the past 3-4 seasons. So we need to be critical and be careful about all of that because things could be changing.
The funny thing, Skywalker, is when I was asked at the start of the season who my top 2 would be, I had City, United.
Yeah, I remember.
I still believe it's going to be so.
I wrongfully thought Liverpool.
I think the problem, Don't Smoke, is that we've dropped points to Brentford and Everton. Losing away at Anfield is no shame, okay? Because Arsenal still have to go to Anfield. Arsenal lost away at United. What Arsenal have done is that they've battered all the other smaller teams, like Brentford, like Everton. That's the issue. Yeah. So you correct that. All of a sudden, now when Arsenal, or by the way, look at the last 4 or 5 games in April and May, look at their run. Their run is dreadful. They played Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Newcastle, and somebody else in the last 5 or 6 games. That's 2 points.
Yeah. Can I just, sorry, mate, I've got to jump in here. I've got to, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And maybe I'm being too proactive here, and maybe I'm being too happy clappy, I don't know. Do you know this dropping points to lesser teams? Mm-hmm. It's what we've always done. We've always done that. You go back to our defeats. Last season, got beat by Crystal Palace at home, drew Southampton, where we should have really got beat. This is not a new. This is not a new thing. All of a sudden, that we're dropping points against lesser teams. That's something we've always done. Been beat by Leicester. It just happens. That is something that we've always done. That's never changed.
That's accurate. However, us as a fan base, we do look at how we drop those points, right? We do look at dropping points and maybe, it's a very unfortunate, terrible player error. Or it's a game where we drop points and Pep does not make one single sub, right?
No, but it's like last night, mate. Last night it was we played bad in the first half. I didn't think we did. Did we play better in the second half? Of course we did. But you analyse that first half properly. Until Spurs got them 2 goals, it was us peppering their goal. Corner, ball over the top. Rico had his shot. Haaland put one over the bar. We did not go out there last night and just flop. No, and Tottenham battered us. And I think what's happened is, because those 2 goals were scored in the fashion they were and at the stage they were, we've all decided to now see the first half. If that had gone in at 0-0 at half time, nobody's having the meltdowns like they were doing.
Yeah.
But because the goals that occurred at that time, it's changed everyone's outlook and they've forgotten a few things in the first half. We had chances in that first half. We were putting the pressure on Tottenham.
No, you're absolutely right. We did have chances. There was attempts that were slightly off goal, misses, but again, Tottenham had one or two opportunities, and again, I didn't kill us for that first half. However, the dropping points to what you're mentioning, yeah, it's standard. It happens season to season, but it's how we drop those points and how it looked like we were going to drop points against Spurs, quote unquote bogey team. They got 2 wins off of us last season. Ederson, and I have it there on
Okay,
screen.
Vita, can I say this?
Yeah,
Right.
go ahead.
I think there's a difference between last season and this season, in the sense that last season we dropped points because we couldn't take our chances, right? Whereby this season we dropped points because we couldn't create chances, right?
Yeah.
So they're both problems, but it's a different kind of problems. I feel as if this season's problems are easier to solve, because at the end of the day, I can't make you a better finisher than most likely than you are. But if I can find a way to create chances and have good finishes, and we saw it yesterday in the second half, when the chances were created, our finishers killed them. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the games we've been finding it hard to get inside final third and create quality clear-cut chances. And I believe that's something that can be erected over time than the other one. Regarding Arsenal and these other teams, I disagree with Skywalker. The thing is, in the sense of which teams we should be aware of. At the end of the day, if we play well, I don't care. No team can match us on intensity.
Yes,
right.
If we play to our level, yep.
That's what I'm trying to say. At the end of the day, we just have to look at ourselves, and other teams will drop points around them. There's still 60 points to be played, and I can tell you now, I don't see Arsenal getting 99 points or 90 or 97 points. I don't see them getting it. So it's a matter of, if we can do our job, we win this league. For me, it's that simple. If we play like how we played the second half, that passion, we have the skill, and we have the experience. So that's why I don't really look around what's Newcastle. Let them fight for second, third, and fourth spot. I don't want to be part of that conversation. Let us play to our ability, and we'll kill, and we win the league. We retain the league again.
I hear that. And before I throw this to Martin, because there's comments in the chat. Arsenal got my attention when I learned that no club with the start that Arsenal has had has lost the league. When that came up, and I forget what the point tally was, but when that came up and it was like no club has lost the league with the start that Arsenal has had, I was like, yep, on the radar. I see what's happening here, and then that's also bled into winners need greater motivation.
But Vader, no club has lost the league, right, with 97 points. No club has lost the league with 92 points. None. 2 have Liverpool.
Yes, but that was my point. I was just about to say,
and no teams come back from 8 points behind with 5 games to go before, but we did.
And this is where I'm getting at. Last show, I talked about City love records. City love to break records. So no club has ever lost with this type of stuff.
Arsenal do later.
What's that?
Well, Arsenal do, but for the opposite reasons. No club had ever dropped out. No club had ever dropped out the top 4 with 3 games to go when they were clear. Arsenal did.
And here we go. We've got that motivation, that bulletin board material. No club, Arsenal, no club with your start has lost the league. And City's got the motivation to go after that. I love what's about to happen.
This is my part of the underachieving. Listen, it's all opinions, and I get that. But if we beat Wolves and United beat Arsenal with 2 points behind them, are we underachieving still?
Yeah, but that's based off of the circumstance. I think.
I just.
No, I hear you. I hear you because it's a long season. But I gotta throw this one question because I wanna be respectful of those in the chat. And this
I'm ignoring Pop.
All right. We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that in the group.
No, I will. If he wants me to answer it, I'll answer it. Yeah, the home fans need to.
He's tongue in cheek with
it. The problem is, last night, frustration came out. I didn't boo. I had a go at someone who did boo, and we had an exchange of words. The thing that annoyed me is the first sign of trouble. What's really irking me this season is the first sign of a blip, the first sign of a little bit of trouble, fans have turned. I don't like that. I don't like it at all, because that is a United mentality. That is a Liverpool fan mentality of this. This team has done everything for us in 4 or 5 years, everything for us. And we've applauded him, we've stuck by him, we've cheered him. And then the first sign of a little bit of a blip, we turn. And I don't like that. I don't like it at all. I think there was blame on the club a little bit for prices. I know me and Carlo disagree on that. Thought the prices were wrong for last night, which is why there was so many empty seats. And you didn't get a lot of there was a lot of, I will say one thing, no excuses. There was a lot of normal, there was the people you regularly see at the game were not there last night. There was a lot of other new faces, which is great to get new faces in. But on the other side of it, a lot of the regulars were not there for whatever reason, whether it was a Thursday night, prices were too high, whatever they want to say, that's their opinion. But you don't boo at the first sign of trouble. I don't like it. We didn't boo them off when we're 2-0 down against Villa. We didn't boo them off then. And I think that's what irked him. That's what irked Pep last night to go on his rant. He was irked. He had a fan pop at him in the stadium.
Yeah.
We've never done that.
Shocking.
What's that all about?
Yeah.
Come on. You know, this fan base is better than every other fan base. And yeah, I'm probably being biased, but we're built differently. We're built special. City till I die is not just a fancy word we throw out. Together, fight till the end. These are not all little things that we've just thrown out over the years.
And this leads me to why I actually enjoy these Twitter spaces that Adam does a phenomenal job of running, and Skywalker's in the mix in his spaces as well. They talk about the old guiding the new, or the elder speaking to the youth, right? And I think that needs to remain there, because, and it's not about policing, but it's about giving a different perspective, and we need to keep that, because there's a portion of the fan base that would run rampant with it's not being checked, but it's not having the voice to be like, guys, look at it this way, calm down. You're what you've experienced in your 15 years or your 20 years is different to me in my 30s, or those in their 40s and 50s. Like, you have to have that, right? So I love the spaces for it, and with regards to Pep addressing some of the fans, everybody's got to be on their P's and Q's for this season, players and fans alike. We can't show weakness like this, to your point, that blip that happened that second half, to then turning on the manager as well as those players. I'm gonna introduce John Mikes. Mikes, you got to show me your camera before I bring you in the mix. But what do you think of the community, young and old and new, however you want to look at it, being together to kind of, like, I guess, keep everyone on the same page? Is that out of line, or is that something that we need to have more of in this? I mean,
I've had, and Martin will tell you this, almost every evening we talk about, we need to do a job. And when I say we, I say people like Vader Games, like TrueCityFan, PitchPoints, the Mancunian Way, do a job of projecting what this club is about, which is hard work together, in good and in bad. Not when things are only good. When things are the worst, things are bad, we stay with it. Now, I didn't start joining the club, supporting the club till about maybe 15, 18 years ago, about that, right? But I learned about what it means to be a City fan, right? Especially from the older crew who know what it's like to be hardworking, supporting when things are not good. And I've borrowed a leaf from that. Have I always been like this? Absolutely not. But I've borrowed a leaf from that because I understand the context of where we are And to Martin's point, we don't want to be like United fans or Liverpool fans or remember the Arsenal fans who are always Arteta out and Wenger out, all that toxicity, because it does nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The players don't like it, managers don't like it. It does nothing but bring us down.
I mean, Carl have made it a personal mission now.
Yes.
We've talked, and we're going to make it a personal mission. We're going to turn people. I have always said this on my channel. Beta, you know this more than ever. Carl does as well. The channel, we've always said, I don't mind any City fan. I don't care if you're from Mars. If you want to come and support Manchester City, I welcome it. Because I was a new fan once. When I started going in the early 80s, I was a new fan. Everyone is a new fan. Everybody is a new fan at some point. I don't care where you're from. But the only thing I ever say is learn about the culture of Manchester City. Manchester City is a very special football club. We're not in it for trophies and everything else. We're there because we love it. That's why we are the only team ever, and I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox now, and I'm sorry, you've let me out my cage, but the simple fact is, we're the only team to get relegated twice and expand our stadium. Expand our stadium when we got relegated twice. No other football club in the history has ever done that. That is madness. We got more people through the door, the worse we got. You know, City is a bit like a cult. You stick with us through the good, the bad, the ugly. If second's bloody ugly and a few bad performances, Jesus, I don't want to see if we were in Liverpool or Chelsea's position. Jesus.
Yeah. I think. Go ahead, Skywalker.
All right, thank you. Martin, I just wanted to just touch on something and then I'll ask you a question, right? So I understand you're upset with the crowd turning on Pep and the players and everything. And you don't like to see things like that happen, right? But yesterday, I feel like that moment had a key like impact on the players and Pep. I 100%, like I'm 100% certain that Pep went into the dressing room and said, "Did you guys hear that? They are booing you guys. Your own fans are booing." What does that mean? It means you guys, they're not happy with what you guys are producing, right? Because Pep has said many times that I'm not happy with what you guys are doing, and it hasn't really changed. But now the fans can see it, and the fans are showing it, right? So I feel like the players took that to heart, and they showed that on the field in the second half, especially with the goals and everything. My question to you, Martin, right, is the fans were booing, right? But what is your take, or what do you think about the silence that was at the Etihad during the first half? What was the cause? Since you were in and around the area, what was the cause? Why wasn't anybody shouting? Was everybody anxious? Why could we hear more Tottenham fans singing from minute 5 till minute 38 or something?
That's a problem throughout English football at the moment. Listen, I actually go home and away. I go to as many away as I can. And you hear it throughout home grounds around England. At Anfield, they turn around and play a song over the tannoy at the beginning. I've been at Anfield, this world famous Anfield that everyone says is a cauldron. No, they sing a song in the first 5 minutes and then play sponsored silence for 45. Happens at United. United, Old Trafford, you could only hear the City fans. At Arsenal, it's like, hybrid library. It is I don't know what it is. I don't know what has happened within the English game, but home fans just sit on their hands sometimes, and they've got this belief that the players have to G up the fans. And sometimes you need the fans to G up the players. Now, last night, that is not a new phenomenon of the Etihad being quiet. The Etihad has been quiet for a while, but there's different reasons behind it. There's different, and it's like Champions League nights. They're quiet. We shouldn't need flags and a light show to get us all going. That shouldn't be. I would rather sack off the light shows and the flags and just play Blue Moon out and get the whole stadium singing Blue Moon. The best I've ever heard it was 2003, the last ever derby. And all they did was play Blue Moon. The whole stadium stood up, sang Blue Moon on their own. And it put chills on my body. Chills. I hate all this. I get it. It's nice. It looks good on the TV. But the fans in England, and this is not just City, this is everywhere. Home fans, I don't know if they become complacent or what. But it's annoying.
I'm gonna add this in, and we know him as Mikey. He's in our group chat. He's on the stream. I'm gonna upgrade my StreamYard because I'm blessed to have more people that want to be part of the panel that I'm actually able to include right now. But Mikey goes, it was silent. It was silent because there was nothing to cheer for. Fans want to spark. Hold on, just his point. Fans want to spark. They want something to cheer about. We've been losing lately, and the fans have been affected too, and that's a fact. Last night was a case. The players needed the spark, the fans, and it was one of them nights. I'm also going to point this out. I think with regards to the cheering on the players, that's got to happen even before the ball is kicked.
Exactly.
When you attend the game as a fan, before the ball's even kicked, you're rooting on your players.
Exactly.
Right? So
but that's my point, Vader. Sack off the light show where we all put our phone in the air and we're all videoing the light show. Sack that off and get a song out.
But Mark, no. Light show or not, because again, I get where this kind of like addition to presentations happening. But what I want to point out is, once the smoke's kind of cleared and the referee puts the ball at the center of the pitch, that's when we yell and cheer them on and go, let's go City, come on City. That's where it's got to build from. And the thing that I want to point out is, in terms of circumstance, situation, and that's why I got that image on the screen. It was literally in the 42nd, this goal happened in the 46th minute. The game was almost, the first half was almost over, and we conceded a second goal. The boo, unfortunately, was reactionary because it was like we're going down 2-0 to Spurs, and we conceded 2 goals at the end of the half. I don't agree with it, but I do understand it's not so much booing the entire half, but maybe how that half ended. And again, I know Pep addressed them. Carl, I know you want to kind of chime in here. I think that's what kind of happened in this instance.
I think Mike raised a good point, right? But I think that if you're a fan, you're not going to a theater to be entertained. What I mean by that is you aren't sitting there watching the show go on and do the occasional clap and high five. No, you're there to support your team, especially when things go wrong. It's live drama. It's not scripted entertainment where the ups and downs, where you know the result at the end of the day because the good guys are always going to win. What you see on the football pitch is life. And it's life being lived out with the ball with 22 men, which is things will not always go your way. But I know I have my family with me. No matter what happens, when I'm down, they're always there for me. They'll always push me to the next level. And when they push me, I deliver for them and I show them how much I appreciate them. And the cycle it's a flywheel. When you're quiet in the stands and there's no emotion and there's no passion, why should the players play up to the level? Are they robots? They're humans.
Spot on.
Yes, Don Smoke, go ahead.
I think we have to understand, right, look at it from both perspectives. Let's look at it from the players and from the coach's perspective as well, right? When you join City, right, we say, no, we one big family, right? And then now the thing is this: a family is supposed to be with you through thick and thin. Now the thing is, Pep and the team have given us some of the best moments of our lives, if we are honest, right? So now to Pep, he's like, okay, so because we're going through a slum, we're not family anymore. Like you're gonna boo us now, like after, because you must understand that the team has look at that Aston Villa, how they won the league for us. That league was gone, if we're honest. It was gone. Liverpool were already celebrating. but they went inside them. Remember,
Yeah.
that's after us getting beaten at Madrid, at
Mm.
Atletico Madrid, going through the Bernabeu, emotionally like torn apart. Then we still have to go through West Ham and other games in the league. Some players are playing on their last limbs. Look at Laporte playing with a broken knee and whatnot. They gave everything, and then now they're like, okay, we need you now.
You
You're not
turn on
what?
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not family anymore. You understand? So that's where the frustration comes from. It's like, okay, so I'm only your manager when I'm giving you the results that you want. But when
Good
things
point.
go
That's
wrong, it's
spot
now
on.
out.
So man, I'm gonna have to find a way to make sure that this show is more than an hour when I'm able to have you guys on.
It's like life, mate. But when you're going through a bad time in your life, you find out who your friends are.
True.
Yes. Yeah. No, judgment
This
is
and this is where I don't agree with the boos help the team. The boos did not help that team last night. For me, what the boos did, it irked on Pep. And Pep, for 3 weeks, has quietly and very subtly been dropping little hints to fans of, right, basically, can you start getting behind us a bit? His first one was Chelsea. That was a sarcastic comment he threw out about the team. And then he's quiet, and this is built up and built up. And do you know what some fans don't realise is, if it continues, you're going to push him out the door. And then you'll have something to cry about. Because you'll end up with a Tuchel, or you'll end up with whoever. And then you can watch boring football.
The great thing about Pep, though, I know that reaction from the fans and what he had to experience is not what he wanted, but in great manager style, he found a way to use it at his advantage. He found a way to use it on the players. He found a way to talk about it post match because, again, everyone needed to be addressed, fans as well as players, and he did it in his great way. The thing that I'm going to do real quick, and this is strictly for analyzing perspectives. YouTube, I'm showing this as a breakdown to analyze. All right, so do not copyright strike me or anything like that. But I want you to pay attention. Pay attention on the screen here where you see the fans, right? That little portion that you're able to see the fans. This is a buildup for Mahrez on that right wing coming in, right? And for me, I'm often standing in my house watching the game. I'm not sitting down on my couch. I'm not comfortably sitting down. There's moments like this where I am literally standing, bringing my face maybe a few inches from the screen, and I'm watching it. It's that intense. And watch this 2 seconds. YouTube, do not strike me. 2 seconds. Watch how the fan base react. See the fans getting up on their feet? The fans should have been on their feet from jump because there's that encouragement, there's that excitement, and that was the goal from Alvarez that we just saw. This is the point that Pep's trying to get out. The energy's got to be from everyone. Don't just expect it from the players. I love everyone on this panel. I hate that I have to cut this show short. I want to throw this out, man, because we got to have this convo continue on, and I'm going to do a better job of scheduling my time because an hour is definitely not enough. Sean in the comments, Patrick, YSK, FIFA, Big Morgan, people have been in the mix. Edison, I see you, my guy. This guy sacked the fans. That's a violation, but I love it. This is Beta Games TV, episode 63. We're going to address some more. I want to thank each and every panel member and those that I wasn't able to bring backstage. I'm going to upgrade this StreamYard to be able to have more panelists. Hamza, Pablo, a.k.a. Pablo, and Mikey, my guy. Adam, Don Smoke, Skywalker, Martin, Carl. Last but never least, thank you so much, guys. We're going to be back with another show. If you missed it, watch it from the beginning. Subscribe, like, comment, and definitely support these guys. They will be in the description of this channel and future channels. Support Mancunian Way, PitchPoints, TrueCityFan, Adam on Spaces, Don Smoke. He does the man's a killer. Check him out on HH's show as well. And Skywalker has great spaces as well. Support everyone. I'm gonna be back. Thank you guys. Love.